Hello, and welcome back to Music and Me 2023. My name's Jlee. Thank you for coming to watch my vlog. Today we have something very exciting, serious to talk about. We're talking about vision. Vision for what, you might ask? Well, I think you guys can agree that having vision for your life is very important. It's not always easy to have a clear vision of what you want to do, but let's talk about music. So, vision for my music has changed over time. In the beginning, like other singers, I grew up having dreams of myself on stage. I would just imagine myself singing in front of hundreds of thousands of millions of people. I had no idea, and when I first was growing up, social media wasn't a thing, so you could never imagine the impact that you could have on people's lives, I guess, globally. But what is my purpose now? So a couple of years ago, and this is one specific moment I'm going to talk about today, and that was sitting in a room full of artists, musicians, potential DJs, hosts, people who are interested in furthering themselves in the music industry in a little group called Sold Out Records. That was something we were potentially going to go into. And they did a really wonderful thing for us, and that was to sit us down as artists and, discuss what kind of vision we have for our artistry. I had a really long, hard think and a pray about it. We all did. We sat there and we asked God, what is it that we're to do with our gifts, Lord? To start off with, the vision for myself and my music, why I wanted to sing, why I wanted to write, the thing that motivated me was just my love for music, the beauty, the comfort you get from singing, from listening to music, all of the, people who had gone before, inspirations that I had. I wanted to be just like them. That's basically my vision. It was just for me to do what they were doing, do something that I love to do, which is still part of my vision. But what I discovered on that day was that there was actually something else that I could give to the world. So the vision changed from just my own enjoyment to how I could help others and what I needed to do to achieve that goal. So what it became was to set a standard for women in the music industry. And I don't mean like I'm gonna be the best, but I think it's in the way that I carried myself through the industry, how my career would last, how I would create with others as a business person. And I had to learn a few lessons, even though I had been singing since the tender age of 7, is that you don't know everything. Like you learn along the way. And the most important thing is, yes, to enjoy your music. It's to keep creating, to keep writing, to be open, to work with others. But one thing that I learned being a woman in the industry, specifically, this is why my vision is to be a standard for women in the industry. And I don't know what men go through, but I know what women go through. And I don't represent every woman, obviously. There are women who are more stronger, more confident than I am, who are more comfortable with their bodies than I am, who some write, some don't write, some have children, some don't have children. But I guess the idea is to do the best that I can with the life that I'm going to have. So at the time that I was able to receive this vision, I had, I want to say, 2 babies. I have 6 now. So over the years, the vision and action have definitely changed for me. Well, vision has stayed the same, but how I action it has changed, if that makes sense. Definitely, I think this is all part of the journey, and I think how I power through this is going to be helpful for women in the future. What I mean by that is how I work through roadblocks, how I navigate through the different things that life has for me, culturally, financially, economically as well. There are a lot of things that have happened in my life, so I guess I could speak into some of them. Let's start with marriage and children. As someone who has been on stage both just for music and theater, Having children obviously slows that down. For some, it doesn't slow you down that much, but for me, it really did. Physically, it took a toll on my body. And I mean, I wouldn't change that for the world, but it wasn't what I envisioned. I really felt that I was stronger than that. I could just jump back into it, and that wasn't the case. I guess I could only focus on one thing at a time, but that also brings a lot of changes to the body. So mentally, I was a little clouded. I did write a lot of songs that were suitable for children, but I wasn't able to like pursue them, like record them and things like that. For some of my kids, I was breastfeeding exclusively, and for some were bottle and breast. One of them was just bottle, so it was different for all the kids. But what was consistent was the time that it took up. And as you have more kids, you have less time to do music. And also at the time, my husband's music was really getting out there. So the time and the energy that we put in as a family was based on what he needed as well. And that gave me a chance to sit back and just enjoy my family. That took a big chunk of years off of my tempo of which I released music or was even creating music. I stepped into the praise and worship band at church. So I was singing, but that was more for serving the house of the Lord. It wasn't for me and specifically for my career. Other things that happened was self-esteem. And a lot of women, if not all women, and because I can't speak for men, I don't know how men deal with this, but for me, self-esteem is a kicker. Like, I thought I was comfortable with my body. I accepted what was happening within my body. But I also was holding myself to the standard of what I was seeing. Did I have the energy to be moving around on stage? I pictured myself being partially choreographed, having dancers on the stage with me, having a band. That takes a lot of energy. I really love the live band sound. I also appreciate the recorded and having the track playing. That's more of how I've been going in the last few years. But I had to ask myself, could I really keep up physically? For me, I struggle with asthma. And after my fourth child, I got quite sick. And that's a whole nother story. But basically, I had to kind of mourn the idea that I had of myself to be able to go on stage and perform in a certain way, and how I envisioned myself as an artist, you see. Not only that, but it was the pressures of fashion. So it seems like small things, but honestly, guys, it takes its toll. And especially since the industry is changing, I just didn't feel like I could keep up. Those struggles were necessary. There's nothing I could have done about it. Those things were happening to me in my life. It's how I move forward that's going to make a difference. I was still able to write. So I had to say to myself, what can my hands do? Like, what can my brain still do, even though I can't go out and tour? And that's what I'm doing right now is, can I still sit in my room and write? So another thing that really affected me was time. And I mentioned this before, but specifically not being able to sit down with another musician, like a keyboard player or a guitar player, or even have the energy and the time to put together a band. Now, that's how I see myself moving forward as an artist, and that's how I grew up creating. Also, my husband becomes more busy, and so all this stuff happens. It seems like having a family is a real hindrance to music, but it isn't a hindrance. What it is a journey. And honestly, I've loved every bit of it. Our life has been an adventure. It is definitely different to what I had envisioned in terms of the pace of it, like I said before. Another thing that's affected me moving forward in how I envision myself would be relationships. So in the music industry and in our location, we don't exactly have the same amount of access to studios, funding as other cities around Australia, or even Papua New Guinea. So every place that you go, everywhere that you are, there are hindrances, there are setbacks. For us, this was one of the things. And that was not really having the right producers to work with, or who were open to working with me. Unless you have like a whole team of people around you, it's really hard to do these things on your own, because it is about connection. And a lot of my lack of connection had to do with me not wanting to leave the bubble of my family. So I can't blame anybody else but myself when it comes to that respect. And I can't say that it's a negative thing. I'm really proud of my family and how they've grown. But in terms of my music, that was something that really held me back in pushing forward at a certain pace, like I said. So really, it's my pace that I'm talking about. I truly believe God's got a pace for me that I am fighting against, because over the years, there have been incredible impacts that have been made, and I've been able to be a conduit for those things, and I'm really, really grateful. So let me talk about some of the positives about having this type of vision. Having this vision, setting a standard for women, isn't to lord myself over others, but to say, I have these struggles too, and this is how I'm going to do them in a way that is honorable, in a way where I have little to no regrets, in a way that I can be proud of. Because unfortunately in this industry, women are highly, highly sexualized. And this is not something that's hidden. This is something, in fact, that is now accepted. And for me personally, I just really didn't want to go down that road. And I know that there are a lot of females that don't want to be harassed and abused and sexualized, at least not against their will, or to something that they are saying, yeah, this is what I want to do. But instead, we have to step into contracts or into situations where we feel uncomfortable, most likely involving men. What I discovered over this time is that, and I'm sorry if this is boring for most people to listen to, but for those who are interested in hearing, there are so many different areas of the industry. And so what I've needed to do over these last few years is learn about all the different levels and how they operate. So you've got management, artist management, you've got event management, you've got people who come up with these ideas, you've got production, you've got videographers, you've got producers in the studio, you've got writers, you've got people who are gifted in social media and promotion. Can I do all these things is a question I had to ask myself. And over the years, I've been learning about how to do these things. But I really think that it's great to have a team around you. And so that's one of the things too. If part of my vision is to empower women, and over the years now it's become more as well as wives and mothers, and someone who is from Pacific Island culture, as well as a mixed race ethnic background, like I'm also Chinese. So I'm not always fully accepted in everywhere that I go, but will that stop me? Will that hinder me? In a lot of cases, it does make a difference because the world is after a certain look. But in the big scheme of things, nothing can hold me back from what I want to do except for myself. And it's only whether I am willing to adjust myself and my own plan in pushing this vision, which I think is incredible, is not something I can back away from. So having vision is really, really important. And I know my stories are a bit scattered, but I hope you guys get the point. That's my vision for my music. I wonder what your vision is. I would love to hear from you guys, even in life. I guess you would call it a motto or a mantra or something that you use to help motivate you and push you through each day. For me, this vision of my music hasn't changed for over 10 years. I just hope that I can do it justice. And if in the future anyone out there listening could ever be a part of this vision, I welcome you into my life. And I'm so excited about what we can do to uplift women in the future and to educate our daughters, and also to bring men into this conversation. It's not about feminism or anything like that, but it's really being a voice for those who struggle. And I have been one who has struggled. My husband knows, and he's a musician as well, which is why I talk about him. He can see me struggle. And it's not always something that I can have him help me fix. I believe in taking personal responsibility in these types of situations. Everybody needs a community. Everybody needs help. So maybe there's one thing I could say to you guys, and that's not to shut people out, not to say I will do this on my own. Personal responsibility is important, but we can take in the help of others. The key is to surround yourself by people who are positive in your life, who will speak constructive criticism. I take on board criticism. It doesn't mean I don't cry about it. Sometimes these conversations end up in tears, but hey, if you're hurting, just let me know, and I'm happy to have a chat with you and have a cry with you. But for those who needed to hear this today, I encourage you, all my women out there, musicians, artists, creative people, keep going, have a vision for your life. I'm so proud of you. I would love to be a help in any way, shape, or form that I can. So I will sign off with that, and thank you once again, and everyone who's come on and listened to my vlogs. I think this is number 4. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it so far. If you did like this vlog, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and also share this video with others who you think would enjoy hearing me go on and on about this kind of stuff, or who would get something out of it. God bless you guys, and have a lovely rest of the day. I'll see you in the next video.